What would you do if a cop pointed a gun at you for no reason? For Keanu Reeves, one of the most beloved actors in the world, this wasn't a hypothetical question, it was a terrifying reality, but what happened next will leave you speechless. This is the story of how Keanu Reeves turned a moment of fear and injustice into a powerful lesson on racism, resilience, and the true meaning of courage. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. In a world where fame often shields celebrities from the harsh realities of everyday life, Keanu Reeves stands apart. Known for his iconic roles in The Matrix and John Wick, Keanu is not just a Hollywood superstar, as a symbol of humility, kindness, and grace under pressure. But what happens when even someone as universally loved as Keanu Reeves faces the ugly reality of racial profiling? This is the story of a chilling encounter that tested Keanu's character and revealed the depth of his compassion. It's a tale of a racist cop who pointed a gun at Keanu, only to face the consequences of his actions. More than that, it's a lesson in how to handle injustice with dignity, empathy, and unwavering strength. As we dive into this gripping narrative, we'll explore how Keanu's calm demeanor and unwavering principles turned a moment of tension into a powerful lesson for us all. This is not just a story about Keanu Reeves, it's a story about standing up against racism, finding strength in adversity, and reminding the world that kindness is the ultimate form of courage. Keanu Reeves' lesson on handling racism. The cop who pointed a gun. It was a crisp autumn evening in Los Angeles, the kind where the city's golden hues blended seamlessly with the fading sunlight. Keanu Reeves, known worldwide for his iconic roles in The Matrix and John Wick, was driving home after a long day of filming. Despite his fame, Keanu preferred to live a low-key life, often seen riding his motorcycle or driving his modest car through the city streets. Tonight, he was behind the wheel of his vintage Porsche, a car he had lovingly restored himself. As he approached a quiet intersection, Keanu noticed flashing lights in his rearview mirror. A police cruiser was signaling for him to pull over. Confused but compliant, Keanu eased his car to the side of the road and rolled down his window, waiting for the officer to approach. The officer, a middle-aged man with a stern expression, approached the driver's side with his hand resting on his holstered gun. Keanu remained calm, his hands visibly on the steering wheel. "Good evening, officer," he said politely. "Is there a problem?" The cop's eyes narrowed as he shone a flashlight into the car. "Step out of the vehicle," he ordered, his tone sharp and accusatory. Keanu hesitated for a moment but complied, opening the door slowly and stepping out with his hands raised slightly. "Is everything okay?" he asked, his voice steady. The officer didn't respond immediately. Instead, he began to pat Keanu down, his movements rough and aggressive. Keanu, though startled, remained composed. "Officer, I'd appreciate it if you could tell me why I've been pulled over," he said calmly. The cop's response was cold. "We've had reports of a car matching this description involved in a robbery. You fit the description of the suspect." Keanu's heart sank. He knew what was happening. Despite his fame, he was no stranger to the harsh realities of racial profiling. As a man of mixed heritage, his father was of Hawaiian Chinese descent, and his mother was English. Keanu had faced subtle and overt racism throughout his life, but this was different. This was a direct confrontation, and the stakes were high. The escalation. As the officer continued his search, another patrol car arrived on the scene. Two more officers stepped out, their presence adding to the tension. Keanu remained calm, his demeanor respectful but firm. "I understand you're doing your job," he said, "but I assure you, I'm not involved in any criminal activity. My name is Keanu Reeves. I'm an actor." The first officer scoffed. "Yeah, right, and I'm Tom Cruise." Hands on the hood of the car. Keanu complied, but as he leaned against the car, he noticed the officer's hand tightening around his gun. The situation was escalating, and Keanu knew he had to de-escalate it quickly. "Officer, I'm happy to cooperate, but I'd like to know what's going on. Is there a way we can resolve this peacefully?" The officer ignored him, continuing his search. Moments later, he pulled out Keanu's wallet and flipped it open. His eyes widened as he saw Keanu's ID and realized he was, in fact, telling the truth. The other officers exchanged uneasy glances. The turning point. The first officer, clearly embarrassed but unwilling to back down, tried to save face. "Well, Mr. Reeves, you should know better than to drive a car that matches the description of a suspect vehicle." Keanu, still calm, replied, "I understand your concern, officer, but I think we both know this situation could have been handled differently. Racial profiling is a serious issue, and it's important that we address it." The officer's face turned red with anger. "Are you accusing me of racism?" he snapped, his hand moving back to his gun. Keanu took a deep breath, his voice steady but firm. "I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm simply pointing out that this situation could have been avoided if we had communicated better. I'm happy to cooperate, but I also believe in treating everyone with respect and dignity." The other officers, sensing the tension, stepped in. "Let's all calm down," one of them said. "Mr. Reeves, we apologize for the misunderstanding. You're free to go." The aftermath. As Keanu drove away, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease. He knew that if he, a famous actor, could be subjected to such treatment, what did that mean for others who didn't have his platform? Determined to turn the incident into a teachable moment, Keanu decided to speak out. A few days later, he sat down for an interview with a popular talk show. When asked about the encounter, Keanu shared his experience with honesty and humility. It was a difficult situation, he said, but it reminded me of the importance of empathy and understanding. We all have a responsibility to stand up against injustice, whether it's racism, discrimination, or any form of prejudice. The interview went viral, sparking a nationwide conversation about racial profiling and police accountability. The officer involved in the incident was eventually placed on administrative leave and later lost his job after an internal investigation revealed a history of similar complaints. The lesson: Keanu's handling of the situation became a powerful lesson in grace under pressure. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, he chose to respond with calmness and dignity. His actions reminded us that 1. Stay calm in the face of adversity. Keanu's composure helped de-escalate a potentially dangerous situation. 2. Speak up against injustice by sharing his story. Keanu used his platform to shed light on an important issue. 3. Treat everyone with respect even in the face of hostility. Keanu maintained his respect for the officers, setting an example of how to handle conflict with dignity. Conclusion: Keanu Reeves' encounter with the racist cop is a story of resilience, empathy, and the power of standing up for what's right. It serves as a reminder that we all have a role to play in combating racism and injustice. Through his actions, Keanu showed us that true strength lies not in aggression, but in compassion and understanding. As the world continues to grapple with issues of racial inequality, Keanu's story offers a beacon of hope. It reminds us that change begins with each of us, one small act of kindness and courage at a time. If you enjoyed this story, we have many more that will warm your heart. Click the screen to explore more stories of hope, compassion, and resilience.